Most of the families who lost their homes in a recent demolition in Payatas, Quezon City refused to resettle in areas offered by the local government. They're worried about living conditions in the resettlement sites. Katrina Domingo has more on that story.
Informal settlers brought about by the demolition of houses along Nara Street in Barangay Payatas, Quezon City complain about the living conditions in their evacuation area. Around 19 families are taking shelter at a covered court after their homes were demolished to pave way for the construction of a 4-story public elementary school. Affected families claim that since yesterday, the government did not provide food or medicine, as some children already caught fever from staying outdoors overnight. Apart from the lack of food and medical rations, the informal settlers also question the legality of the demolition. Gina Lunag, one of those affected, says she has resided in the area for 4 decades, yet her house was still torn down.
Napakasakit dahil minaanak ko to sa tatay ko, kamamatay lang ng tatay ko, binigay sa akin yan. Wala kaming tutuloy. Ang alam ko kasi noon, di ba, noon may batas noon, pag 10 years ka, medyo may karapatan ka na, sa lupang tinitirikan mo. Eh, lampas na ako 10 years. Andito na lahat ng mana ko, dito ko na inanak.
Lunag says they filed a case before the Quezon City Regional Trial Court Branch 80 to stop the demolition. But their petition for a temporary restraining order was denied. But their case against the demolition team still stands.
Nag-hearing kami ng 1 linggo, binigyan kami ng judge na 10 days para isumite yung mga papel. 9 days pa lang kahapon, giniba na nila. Wala pa yung sumiting binigay namin papel na hinihingi ng judge.
Despite the informal settlers' legal issues, the demolition pushed through after the local government of Quezon City authorized the operation. The construction of a public elementary school in the area was approved last year, but was delayed due to the informal settlers. The documents from the local government also show that dialogues between affected parties have been conducted since January 2011. Relocation sites as well as financial assistance worth 10,000 pesos per family are also being offered. Despite this, only 2 out of the 19 affected families have agreed to accept the government's offer. Others, however, remain unconvinced to transfer and are skeptical about the living conditions in the relocation sites in Del Monte, Bulacan and Montalban, Rizal. Katrina Domingo, Solar News.
The father of stray bullet victim Stephanie Nicole Ella met with National Bureau of Investigation Director Nonatus Rojas to get updates on his daughter's case. Ella said Ross gave assurances that they will resolve the case as soon as possible. Stephanie's father understood the NBI also has other important cases to pursue. Meantime, Ella's new counsel, Attorney Harry Roca, said he will present at least 3 new witnesses before the NBI's Death Investigation Division next week. The Cagayan de Oro Regional Trial Court indefinitely postponed the arraignment of investment scam leader Jacob Coco Rasuman. The decision came after Rasuman's 2 syndicated estafa cases from the court's Branch 24 were consolidated with a case in Branch 20. Branch 20 is yet to schedule Rasuman's arraignment. The court postponed the arraignment due to a pending motion to quash filed by defense lawyers. Rasuman headed an investment firm that was allegedly behind a massive pyramiding scam in Mindanao. Presidential Communications Secretary Ricky Carandang says the dismissal of some cases filed against Pampanga 2nd District Representative Gloria Macapagal Arroyo does not jeopardize the administration's campaign to seek accountability in government. Carandang says the dismissed cases were not filed by the government, but by third-party groups. He adds these cases were dismissed due to lack of probable cause. Carandang clarifies the cases filed by the government are still pending in the courts. The Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines reiterates its call for a change in the Department of Agrarian Reform's leadership. In a letter addressed to President Aquino, the bishops say DAR has underperformed in the past 2 years under Secretary Virgilio de los Reyes. The bishops are also worried that the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program extension with reforms or CARPER law is set to expire next year. While De Los Reyes earlier said he is ready for a dialogue, the bishops insist it is the president they want to speak with. The Bureau of Customs failed to meet its January revenue target of 25.06 billion pesos. Customs, however, still boasts of a high revenue collection worth 24.5 billion pesos, only 2.2% short of the January target. Customs Commissioner Rufy Biazon urges his staff and colleagues in the Bureau to outdo their performance in January to be able to meet the revenue target in the coming months. The Manila Police District confiscates almost 30 allegedly stolen cars and motorcycles during a month-long operation around Metro Manila. Reports say that 5 suspects from various criminal groups are currently detained under the MPD by the MPD for further investigation into the matter and possibly other organized crimes. MPD Operations Deputy Director of Police, Chief Superintendent Ronald Estillas, reminds motorists to be careful with their vehicles and immediately report stolen vehicles to authorities. Owners may claim the confiscated cars and motorcycles provided they present proper documents to the MPD. The Bureau of Customs seized 4.5 million pesos worth of smuggled TV sets from a home entertainment store in Mandaluyong and Quezon City. This after Sharp Philippines requested the Bureau to look into suspicious audio-video appliances being sold at the Listening in Styles store located at the Shangri-La and Eastwood malls. Customs officials found out that the products did not have shipping permits and official receipts, as these were shipped for free by an overseas Filipino worker from the United States. Customs Commissioner Rufy Biazon says the Bureau will not limit its anti-smuggling operations to ports to strengthen and widen its mandate. The seized TV sets will be auctioned to gain back revenue. A stock market analyst says the Philippine stock market's main index could top 6,700 this year. This after the Philippine stock market reached a new all-time high for the 15th time this year in less than 2 months of trading. Eagle Equities President Joey Rojas says hitting the 6,700 point mark is possible within the first quarter of 2013, as the market's rally is expected to continue until mid-March. For those seeking to invest, Ross says listed companies engaged in retail, media, finance, and oil exploration will be profitable. Meantime, Philippine Stock Exchange President Hans Hikat says media and retail companies are expected to have higher revenues this year due to election spending.
The market is still attracting, I think, a lot of new investors. Because you can see it in the volume every day. And every time there's a correction, immediately the market it stops and then goes up again. So that means people are waiting for corrections.
During elections, there's probably a lot of spending in the media sector, 2, the branded consumer sector, which is what we call the retail sector. So what that probably means is that companies who are in this area of activity will probably have higher earnings or at least higher revenues during this year. So that may translate to, in fact, higher stock trading in their companies. And
Consumers in the Asia-Pacific region remain optimistic despite uncertainty in the global economy. The latest survey conducted by MasterCard shows a surge in confidence in the emerging markets of Indonesia and the Philippines. Extreme improvements were recorded in Indonesia, where consumer confidence jumped by 30.1 index points, while the Philippines rose by 13.6 index points. Both countries benefited from increasing investments from local and foreign businessmen. Bureau of Customs recognized Phoenix Petroleum as among the country's top importers for 2012. Phoenix Petroleum emerged as top 7 importer after paying 4.733 billion pesos in taxes to the government. It also held the same spot in 2011 after paying 3.69 billion pesos in taxes. The United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization reports a stability in world food prices. This after the organization reported a 3-month decline in food prices. The UNFAO Food Price Index, which measures monthly changes in international prices of meat, dairy, cereals, oils, and fats and sugar, remained at 210 points in January 2013. The UNFAO says the stability is due to the balance between the increased prices for oil and fat products and the lower prices of cereal and sugar products. Japan lodged a protest against Russia after 2 Russian fighter jets allegedly violated its airspace. That and more in this Around Asia update from Claire Saldran.
Japan accused Russia of intruding its airspace, saying that 2 fighter jets entered its territory near the disputed Kuril Islands. The incident prompted Tokyo to send its combat fighters and lodge a protest. Russia, which was holding military maneuvers around the disputed area, denied violating Japan's exclusive territory. In Bangladesh, thousands joined a rally demanding the execution of a leader of the country's biggest Islamist party who was sentenced to life in prison for war crimes. A war crimes tribunal sentenced Abdul Qadir Molla for murder, rape, and torture charges in 1971 when Bangladesh struggled to break away from Pakistan. The protest followed a national strike, now on its 2nd day. And in Hong Kong, a leading Asian brokerage launched a tongue-in-cheek feng shui index predicting markets in the year of the snake ahead of the Lunar New Year. Financial analysts and feng shui practitioners said the coming year of the snake would see financial markets higher as optimism grows. The report, however, warned that snake years were usually marked by major transformation, change, or upheaval. Just like the September 11 attacks in 2001, the Tiananmen Square crackdown, the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989, and the Great Depression in 1929. Claire Saldran, Solar News.
In the United States House, Democrats outlined new gun control proposals to address gun violence in the country. Claire Saldran is back with this World Update.
Top Democrats in the U.S. House of Representatives unveiled a broad proposal to curb gun violence. It mirrors the one offered last month by President Barack Obama. The proposal included a ban on semi-automatic assault weapons. It remained unclear if the measure would be put to a vote. The House Republican leadership said it would not bring the legislation on the floor until the Senate acted on it. Meanwhile, CIA Director nominee John Brennan said he did not try to stop waterboarding, an interrogation technique that some consider torture, as he faced tough congressional confirmation hearing. Lawmakers grilled Brennan on controversial counter-terrorism tactics used while he was a CIA official. Democrats also repeatedly questioned Brennan about the government's use of drones to attack American citizens allegedly involved in terrorist plots. And in space, NASA says a small asteroid would pass close to Earth next week, closer than the TV satellites around the planet. The asteroid, known as 2012 DA14, is about the size of an Olympic swimming pool and is projected to come as close as 17,000 miles near Earth on February 15th. Scientists, however, assures the public there is no chance of an impact during the encounter. Claire Saldran, Solar News.
Here's sports with Gino Rufino. Gino.
Thanks, Pia. Dwight Howard answers the call of Laker fans and teammates to play through the pain, but it still wasn't enough against the rivals Celtics in Boston. As Formula One testing continues in Spain. But first, let's tee things off with some golf news from Pebble Beach. Hunter Mahan, who has long relished playing golf on the picturesque Monterey Peninsula, birdied 5 of his first 7 holes on the way to share of the first round lead in the Pebble Beach National Pro-Am on Thursday. In pursuit of his 6th title on the U.S. circuit, Mahan mixed 7 birdies with a lone bogey to end the day level with little-known Briton Russell Knox, who carded a 6 under 64 on the short course at Monterey Peninsula Country Club. Formula One champion Sebastian Vettel shook off the winter rust with his first test of the year on Thursday, while Felipe Massa raised the hopes of Ferrari fans with the fastest lap of the week. Mercedes also put the problems of the first 2 days behind them, with Nico Rosberg completing a mammoth 148 laps, a total of 655 kilometers in one day. Vettel, pounding out the laps in the Red Bull for the first time since he won his third consecutive title in Brazil last November, was only the third fastest, but the times were of secondary importance. He completed 102 laps.